is stopped right short of the sticks. Carter has changed to number 4. Second and long, and Burns with the sack.
And this is what this Carolina Panthers defense needs. Brian Burns is such an impactful player.
Throwing on first down and completing to Christian McCaffrey with room to run. McCaffrey has a first down.
There's so many things you can do with them. Even if it's
like just his third NFL game. Darnold down the sideline, Orr in there, and out of bounds. Orr thinks he caught it. Referee, and the handoff is botched, and the Jets recover. Sheldon Rankins falls on him, and the Panthers come up empty. The time is now. See if Wilson can get going now as he connects with Corey Davis, who breaks free, and Davis out to the 47-yard line.
Great job by Zach Wilson.
Wilson over the middle, and it's intercepted. Shaq Thompson on the pick. Thompson into Jets territory, and out of bounds, just shy of the 30-yard line. The second career interception for Shaq Thompson, and his first in 5 years.
Shaq Thompson did a fantastic job of falling into the lane that's action.
Darnold steps up, deep shot for Robbie Anderson. He's got him! Touchdown! He's going to keep it himself! A Darnold touchdown run! Darnold in trouble. There he goes! John Franklin Myers, the first to get back there. That's a big play on third down for the Jets.
Could they get one over on this Carolina Panthers offensive line?
Wilson going to the air. Chased out by Daquan Jones. Wilson looking end zone wide open. Touchdown! First NFL touchdown for Zach Wilson. And it goes to Corey Davis. The Jets are on the board.
Captain to captain. Both Zach Wilson is a rookie.
Wilson keeps it himself, and he's got the 2-point conversion. So we've got a 1-score game here in Charlotte.
The eyes looking away from the quarterback and come straight.
25-yard pickup. Wilson fires. There's Sims. He's got it. And out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Well, we were just wondering where he was. Wilson to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown! Corey Davis again. His second of the day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. There were the highlights right there before we got started on the game, and what a great weekend it was for the NFL and everything about the NFL, the Panthers, Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson playing their team, their former team. Just a great day to be a Carolina Panther fan. And just when you thought everybody was excited about this offense, what is it going to do? What is it going to do? Well, let me tell you, there was a lot of good things we did see with the offense yesterday, but boy, did that defense came to play. That defense yesterday by the Panthers showed you that it has an ability to be a top 10 NFL team a top NFL defense in the National Football League. No doubt about it when you look at that game yesterday. And a lot of great things. For those of you Panther fans that are on different sites, I know we're on many different sites tonight. If you can please go ahead, share this to your timeline. Share it to your timeline. Let's get as many people involved as we can. We're going to allow people to call in tonight. Please, one caller in at a time if you want to call in. Then in about 20 minutes, we're going to have Steve Fowler, sports columnist for the Charlotte Observer, will be joining us live to recap that game from yesterday. But what a great job by the defense. 6 sacks. They held the Jets to 4-13 on third down conversions, and Shaq Thomas with 10 tackles, a sack, an interception, a forced fumble. What a great game by Shaq Thomas. Give other people, Dante Jackson, 6 tackles in the game. Plus he had Burns and Himes and Reddick and Chin and Carter. All these guys playing lights out defense, putting major pressure on Zach Wilson yesterday. Sam Darnold. Now, we talk about this defense, folks. It was a great defense. It was a swarming defense. It was playing, intercepting footballs, knocking down passes, pass deflections. Thomas had 3 pass deflections yesterday. Was all over the place. And that's good, folks. That's good because next week, this team is going to have to be on their A game when they play the New Orleans Saints and Jameis Winston, which we'll get into a little bit later. But give Sam Darnold credit. First game as a Carolina Panther. And what does Sam Darnold do? He goes 24-35, 279 yards, a touchdown pass, a 57-yarder to Robbie Anderson. That was just beautiful, as you saw in the intro of the show. For those of you that want to call in, putting a hotline number on, please, one phone call at a time. So if one person's on the line, please go ahead, wait till they're done, and then come on. But the number is 813-922-9810. We are talking Panther football, but if you want to talk about another NFL team and call in, that's fine. Or you can leave comments in the comment section, and we'll try to get to your comments as soon as possible. But a great win yesterday by the Carolina Panthers. They're 1-0, as are the Saints and the Buccaneers. And then, of course, the Falcons lost, which we'll recap the NFC South a little bit later. You know, we saw yesterday what Darnold can do when he has a little protection. Yes, he was rushed quite a few times, but I thought Sam kept his composure. And I thought overall from, it's so easy for people to ridicule this offensive line. But here you are with the team that rushed for 100 yards yesterday, threw for 280 yards in the air, and you're saying the offensive line was mediocre. Give the offensive line some credit where they're due. Did they play the best game? Did they play the crispiest of games? No, they did not. But played a game, and they won the game. Second of all, fans, get out of this damn thing about you have to blow NFL teams out. Okay, when you play an NFL team, you're playing great caliber players. Okay, doesn't matter if it's the Jets, the Falcons, the Browns, the Buccaneers. Everybody is an NFL player. It is just automatic. It is just amazing when you can get a W and you can win these games. And that's what the Panthers did yesterday. They won a game they should have won. The hell with the score. It's a W. Yes, Christian McCaffrey, 9 receptions, 89 yards. As far as the passing game, 21 for 98 yards rushing. G.J. Moore, 6 receptions. Robbie Anderson, like I mentioned twice already, with a huge touchdown pass. But there's a lot of questions that came up, and I want to discuss it. And please call in if you like. We'd love to hear about you, but in order for this team to be successful, these are some of the things I picked up yesterday that this team needs to do. Number one, the team cannot only have Christian McCaffrey as their only player on offense. They're going to have to mix it up. They're going to have to balance the touches a little bit better. First of all, nobody but Christian McCaffrey and maybe the one run by Sam Darnold ran the ball yesterday. McCaffrey ran the ball every time. Didn't use Freeman, didn't use Hubbard. Not sure why, but at the end of the day, if you become one-dimensional and the only player on that offense that you're using is Christian McCaffrey, teams like the Saints next week are going to whoop your butt because they're going to key on Christian McCaffrey. Now, how do you offset that? Well, the good thing with the Carolina Panthers is they have weapons. Use them. You have DJ Moore. You have DJ Moore. You got Marshall. Use these guys. Use these guys and use these guys. You got to use them. You got to distribute that ball a lot better. Mix it up with Hubbard in the backfield. Give him a couple of runs and give McCaffrey a blow. But in order to be successful, you cannot just use McCaffrey, and McCaffrey will not last the whole year if you continue to use him this way. Number 2, you got a kicker. Why didn't you not go for the 50-yard field goal? The only reason I can think of is you did not believe in your kicker, Matt Rule, and Coach Rule not believing him is a problem. If you do not believe that your kicker could make a 50-yard field goal in the National Football League, then he should not be your kicker. Plain and simple. If he's on the roster, allow him the damn opportunity to kick the field goal. You need points to win football games. Terrible, terrible call, I thought, by Matt Rule. The other is the second half of that game. You get to a 16-0 lead because of a certain way you are playing the game. Why the heck do you change the game? You've been successful. You shouldn't play this conservative crap that you did in the second half that gave the New York Jets and Zach Wilson rhythm and momentum to get back into that ball game. And the way you should have handled that is air it out a couple of times. And I will tell you right now, folks, nobody in their right mind can tell me that it was Joe Brady's decision yesterday to play that conservative in the second half. That's not Joe Brady football. He doesn't coach that way. That was Matt Rule. And if you're going to hire an offensive coordinator, damn it, use him. Why the hell would you have him if you're not going to let him make the decisions? Doesn't make sense. So that's two things. When Coach Rule looks at the film this week, which I believe he already has, he also needs to look in the mirror and say to himself, what could I have done better as a coach to help my team have a better chance of winning that game? We won that game. Yes, we did. But you did not coach the best game that you could coach. You have to believe in your personnel. And if you don't believe in your personnel, then you need to get new personnel. Okay? This is not college football where you do everything. You have an offensive coordinator. You go to him and say, Joe, what do you think we should do this half? Okay? If for some reason there's certain plays throughout that course of the half that you don't like, of course, change them. But darn it, you got an offensive coach, utilize them. You got a kicker, utilize them. That's what you have to trust your personnel. Once you show that team that you don't trust that personnel, it is so much harder to get their trust back. And that's where Coach Rule made the mistake. We won the game. We need to be happy. But Coach Rule, do not play this conservative crap. It will come to haunt you in the future and allow teams to come back against you, which almost happened in yesterday's ball game. Now, the other thing is third down conversion. You got to mix it up a little bit. You can't keep running on first and second down with McCaffrey. You got to use play action. A couple things happen when you use play action, folks. First of all, you have guys moving around. So when you have guys moving around during play action, now the defense moves around. And it gives Sam Darnold the opportunity to pick up things on defense that might be hidden to him because guys were not moving around. And by moving around, you're going to allow those Moores and Marshalls and Robbie Anderson. What a beautiful pass to Robbie Anderson, leading him to a 57-yard touchdown pass. That's the way you got to do it. By the way, those folks that are on right now on all different platforms, we have a call-in number if you want to talk Panther football. The number is 813-922-9810. Please, one call at a time. Wait till the other person gets off, and we'll take your phone call. Also, you can leave a comment in the comment section. We'll try to get to it on your thoughts about the Panthers, good and bad yesterday. We got a win, which is the main good thing. And we'll continue to talk about some of these opportunities. Third down conversion, 4-14. We have to get better at that. And then 6 penalties for 38 yards. That's just a matter of discipline. That sometimes happens at the beginning of the season. So we have things to work on. But at the end of the day, folks, you won a football game. You won a football game, okay? I would rather win a football game and have things to, I'd rather play a football game and win than play a great game and lose, okay? We didn't play the greatest game yesterday, but we won. We won versus the Jets, okay? Next week, we got the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints yesterday, whooped up on the Packers. Jameis Winston, 5 touchdowns. Those are our next. That's our next opponent. We need to come out, and we'll talk about this in a little bit again, but we'll start it now, is they are a very similar offense to us right now with Jameis Winston back there. The key to both teams is going to stop the running game, because if our defense is on like it was yesterday, the way to beat Jameis Winston is to make Jameis think. Get to his brain. Get to his mind. And by stopping the running game of Alvin Kamara, what you do is you open it up to more of a one-dimensional game where he doesn't have very good weapons right now, especially with Michael Thomas out. That's why they're bringing in receivers to try out to make this New Orleans Saints team. So what you need to do is make him one-dimensional, make him think, and believe me, if you can do that against Jameis Winston and the Saints, you will cause Jameis into turnovers, whether it's fumbling the ball or throwing interceptions. The more Jameis thinks, the more harm he does with his arm when he's playing quarterback. It's a known fact. I watched Jameis for many years. I've studied Jameis. Just make him think. All you got to do is make him think. When he doesn't have time to think, he's unbelievable. When he has time to think, he tends to not play up to the same level. And I think in that game yesterday, why he was so successful was because they put a very conservative game plan in there for him, and he won 5 touchdown passes. Once again, if you want to call in, get on, talk about the Panthers, good and bad, 813-922-9810. We are about 5 minutes away from having Steve Fowler, sports columnist for the Charlotte Observer, coming on. We'll talk about yesterday's game, and we'll also talk about this week's upcoming game against the New Orleans Saints, which is right here in Carolina. But, Christian McCaffrey looked great. Nothing unexpected. Ran for 98 yards, was running hard. He was catching the ball out of the backfield. He was doing everything you expect from a CMC to do, okay? Everything you expect from him to do and more. But my point I was making earlier is if he's the only player being used, then you might as well take the other 11 off the field. I'm sorry, the other 10 off the field. Okay, because that defenses are just going to be keying on number 22. And, if he's the only one getting the ball, that's not good. Sam Darnold proved that he can throw a football to all the fans of Carolina yesterday. Not just with that pass, but some other beautiful passes as well. And he missed a couple he should have had as well. But at the end of the day, there was also several drop passes in that game. These receivers have to catch the ball. You can't have 3 or 4 or 5 drop passes in a game versus any team in the NFL and expect to come out on the winning side. Now, obviously, we did come out on the winning side. Like I said, I'd rather, win ugly than play great football and lose, okay? We got the win. At the end of the day, you're 1-0 in the NFC South, atop the NFC South with the Buccaneers and the Saints. Next week, you play the Saints. A big divisional game right off the bat, second week of the season. You have to come out ready. Those of you folks joining us, we are about 3 minutes away from Steve Fowler, sports columnist for the Charlotte Observer, coming on with us. Later on, after the interview with Steve, we'll go ahead and we'll break down the NFC South. We'll talk about the Buccaneers over the Cowboys. We'll talk about the Saints over the Packers. And we'll talk about the Eagles whooping up on the Falcons yesterday. Every week, we'll try to give you a rundown on the NFC South. That way you can follow our division and know what's going on. Reminder, tomorrow night, College Football Tuesday. We'll be joined by Otis Kirk, who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks for Pigtail Nation. He's been covering them a while, a good friend of Frankly Speaking Sports. And then Wednesday night on Frankly Speaking Panthers, we're going to have John Hendricks from Sports Illustrated, who covers the New Orleans Saints, joining us live as well to break down that game this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to introduce to you, as I get all my papers out, Scott Fowler. He is a sports columnist for the Charlotte Observer. Let's go ahead and bring him in right now. How you doing tonight, Scott?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Scott, we won. I am doing excellent when we win. Let me ask you this, Scott. Yesterday, a full house, Bank of America Stadium. Everybody's wondering, how is this new offense led by Sam Darnold going to do in front of the home crowd versus his old teammates? I mean, a lot of storylines, but when you look at this game yesterday, boy, did that defense come to play.
Yeah, they did. 6 sacks. They really made Zach Wilson's rookie debut pretty painful, I think, and were probably the biggest key to winning that game. Sam Darnold played fine and he was good enough, but that defense shutting out the Jets for the first half really set the tone.
Now, when you talk about Sam Darnold, yes, he wasn't crispy, if you want to call it that way, but he still had a solid first game, playing well, throwing for 280 yards. He ran for a touchdown. He had a beautiful pass to Robbie Anderson for a 57-yarder. I mean, the one thing that people were complaining about last year was that Teddy Bridgewater couldn't make that pass that Sam Darnold made yesterday to Robbie Anderson. Overall, I know you mentioned just a little bit about Sam. How would you rate Sam in his first game?
B+ probably. I thought he avoided the big mistake other than that fumble at the goal line, which turns out was his fault. But throwing the ball, I thought he was, especially in the first half, really looked good and had a lot of pressure in his face, Larry, a lot of times, and was able to get out of that. As you say, the Bridgewater, that throw didn't happen very often last year, the deep ball. He used McCaffrey very effectively, like every Panther quarterback has since McCaffrey got here. But I think he played well enough to win, and that's really the key. Missed a throw also in the end zone, Matt Rule said today, to Ian Thomas. You remember that seam route early in the game? You really should have thrown that ball lower, and that should have been a touchdown. But, he also made a whole bunch of good throws, 279 yards, first game, and they won.
And, you talked about Christian McCaffrey, Mr. Do-It-All. I mean, he had 98 yards rushing. He had 9 receptions out of the backfield yesterday. But let me ask you this, Scott. Going forward, and now next week, you play a darn good team in the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they're going to have to get other people involved in this offense besides the Christian McCaffrey offense, because he's the only one besides Donald that ran the ball the whole day yesterday. Teams are going to key on Christian McCaffrey. Then you're going to have another issue if you're not utilizing those other guys, your receivers, and even giving them a blow just to maybe have Hubbard come in and run a couple. I mean, this guy is going to, I hate to say it, but if they don't start using him, they use him too much, they may not have him the entire season.
Right, and I think they know that 30 touches is really on the high side. 25, 22 would even be better if you could get away with doing that and giving the ball to Chuba 7 or 8 times. Here's what happened, Larry, with Chuba is that I think on one of his very first plays, he was supposed to pick up a linebacker on a blitz, and he didn't get it done. And I think there they lost some confidence in in that first game, basically. So you didn't see him much after that. And Matt Rule made some reference today to our rookies have to stop playing like rookies. And I think that was directed partly at that particular play. But I would agree with you starting this week. And you know who else they got to get involved is Dan Arnold sometimes. Dan Arnold really had a good preseason. He was not happy with the way he played yesterday. They got to get some, the tight ends. It's been a problem for years since Olsen left, basically, that the tight end hasn't been a big enough part of the offense. And against New Orleans, they are such a good defense. They're going to have to utilize everything they got.
Yeah, and you talk about trust, and it came up a couple times yesterday. I want to hit on the first one. We have an opportunity at a 50-yard field goal in the first half of yesterday's game, and I'm looking at it from 2 ways. Okay, number one, Ryan Santoso. If you don't believe the guy could make a 50-yard field goal in the NFL, then he probably shouldn't be a kicker to begin with on your team. I mean, that just showed, and I understand it's his first game, but how do you think the kid feels in the first opportunity he could possibly have that the coach doesn't have the faith in him to make a 50-yard field goal?
Right. No, I agree with you there. I would have also taken that shot at the field goal. I wasn't sure what they were doing, and Rule said today they were trying to pin him down at the 5 or 10, and of course it ended up being the 15. So the decision really looked bad then when the punt only went 18 yards. But I think you got to take the field goal there. I mean, you're on artificial turf. You're kicking on a nice warm day. He's got the leg for it. He made a 52-yarder in the preseason. I don't like that decision. And, as I wrote in today's Charlotte Observer, I'm not sure Santosa is going to be kicking Sunday. Might be, but
and we both know why,
be.
right? Because if you do, then you got to give up a 7th-round pick to the Giants. And I thought of that too. And I know as terrible as it sounds, Scott, but I'm thinking, okay, now if he kicks this 50-yard field goal, to me, winning's more important than a 7th-round pick. I know that's crazy, but at the end of the day, make the 50-yard field goal, deal with that crap next week. But basically, you don't lose a football game because of a 7th-round pick that you might have to give up.
No, right. 7th-round picks are really not that valuable. I mean, that you sign so many undrafted free agents afterwards that are kind of 8th round picks, you could say. It's really not that much difference. I agree with you there. I think they weren't planning to lose there so much as they were being super careful, and they thought if we put them back 90 yards, they can't go 90 yards with our defense. They really, I think, feel like they're sort of a defensive oriented team right now. Defense and McCaffrey and Sam Darnold, let's not mess it up. And with the Saints, though, we saw what they just pummeled Green Bay yesterday. And here's another thing I was thinking about today. The Saints had a 4th and 7 at Green Bay's 41 yesterday. 4th and 7, not 4th and 6, and at the 41, not the 33. They went for it and made it. And that's the kind of, and it was also in the first or second quarter. That's the kind of thing that winning teams do. They take those gambles, and not only that, they convert. The Panthers went for a 4th and 1 and missed it. So it's not like they didn't go for anything, but they're going to have to play better, I guess, is the bottom line. Probably about 30% better to beat the Saints.
Now, another thing that was concerning, and I'd love to get your take on this, but we play one way the first half, and we pretty much control the entire first half for the most part, except for maybe putting some other points on the board that we had opportunities to put on. But, my question to you is, we came out in the second half, and it seems like we were playing, instead of playing to win, we were playing not to lose. And my big question to you is, you have an offensive coordinator, a great one, in Joe Brady that knows how to air it out a couple of times. Is this maybe another case where Matt Rule is, overruling his offensive coordinator and maybe not trusting enough and trying to do it all?
I don't know about that. I think Joe Brady was still making the calls, but certainly they would have talked at halftime, look, we're up 16. Let's not get a pick 6 or something. But they weren't happy with that second half. And I think with the Saints, they know they have to be a little more aggressive. I mean, they were sort of literally running out the clock at the end of this game, played with a lead the whole time. Probably won't be that way Sunday. At best for the Panthers, it's going to be a back and forth game. It'd be hard to imagine they're just going to run away with a lead and hide a little bit like they did in this game. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid concern. They're going to have to be more aggressive.
Now, let's talk about the Saints before we let you go. Coming up this week, I know we've been hitting on it briefly, but, I watched Jameis Winston. I lived in Tampa. I just moved to Charlotte, actually, a couple months ago. So I watched Jameis's whole career in Tampa. And the one thing I know about Jameis, and it might be a similar plan for both teams, and I want to, because we got McCaffrey we rely on. They got Kamara they rely on. The one thing I know about Jameis is if you can stop Alvin Kamara and make him think more, he is more dangerous to his team. That's when he throws interceptions. That's when he fumbles the ball, when he has to think too much. After what you saw yesterday with this Panthers defense, do you think they have the ability to stop Alvin Kamara?
That's a good question. No, not really. Not totally. They're not going to hold the Saints rushing game to 45 yards, I don't think. Slow him down, yes. I think that's the best you can hope for. That guy is one of the best, probably 5 backs in the league. Sort of like asking if the Saints can stop McCaffrey. No, not really. I mean, slow him down, hope that you hold him to 100 total yards, keep him out of the end zone. Yeah, that'd be great, But I get your point, because I saw the Panthers play against Winston probably 6 or 7 times in person. And just what you said, if you can make them, Winston only threw for like 155 yards yesterday because he didn't have to. And it was only 100 until, in the fourth quarter. And yet he'd thrown 4 every time they got near the end zone. They scored by throwing it, but they got near there a lot of times by running the ball. And so you're right. They need to make Winston work at it harder. You can't just be able to throw a screen pass to Kamara and get 20 yards every time. But that guy's tough. I mean, they're they're tough, and the Saints defense is tough too. That's a very good defense. This will be a real test.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a real test. What do we have to do, in your opinion, on the offensive side of the ball, besides the obvious, don't make mistakes, don't turn over the ball? What is it that you think we need to see this Sunday to prevail on the offensive side?
More targets to the tight ends and have it work out, so they can't. And then if that does work out, then you maybe get the deep ball. Sometimes the Saints will give up a deep ball. If you watch them for years, they are all about pressure. And so they're going to, what you're talking about making Winston think a lot, that's what they're going to try to do with Darnold is they'll bring 6 and just dare you to beat them one-on-one. And so the Panthers have to win a couple of those. I think they probably have to get one at least kind of cheap touchdown, like a 40 or 50 yarder, a deep ball where you're not trying to make 12 plays to go down there. So they probably need at least 1 or 2 big plays like that. Probably need to score at least like 27, maybe 30. The Saints are going to score some points. Even with this, without Drew Brees, you can see they're still powerful. So I think the Panthers' goal here offensively is, 27 to 30 points, hold the ball 32, 35 minutes.
Now, good offensive line on the Saints side of the football, protecting Jameson right now. But the one thing they're hurting on, Scott, as you know, is Thomas is out. They had 2 veteran receivers come in for tryouts today. Could this hopefully could our defense, you think, get as much pressure on Winston as they did on Wilson? And could we possibly be going, have New Orleans coming into our home at the right time of year because of the weak wide receivers they currently have?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad situation to get him in week 2 without Thomas. Winston's still early in his career there. We as you know from living in Tampa, I guess, he'll follow a great game with a bad game. I've seen games where he's absolutely just torched the Panthers, and I've seen games where he's thrown 5 picks against them. And there's sometimes not a middle ground. So maybe he's due for a bad one. Without Thomas, that is a big deal. But, they played most of last year without Thomas. Of course, Brees was there. But nevertheless, Sean Payton is just a formidable opponent. But I think the Panthers, this is a good time to catch them. I'd rather catch them at this point of the season than, in December in the Superdome, which I think they have to do that too. So you got to win this one. This is one that sets up really pretty well for the Panthers and, real chance to go 2-0 here.
And they're going to be in front of another home crowd, could be possibly a sellout versus the Saints. So question before I let you go, how wonderful would it be to see a repeat performance by that defense this week versus the Saints?
Yeah, well, that would be, I think that's a huge key. If, their defensive line is one of their strengths, and Reddick is really a great addition, and Brian Burns is a stud. He should be he should make the Pro Bowl this year, and unless he just gets hurt or something. So those 2 crashing in, the defensive tackles are good. I think that's where the game's won or lost probably. If the Panthers' defensive line can hold up and really pressure Winston, make him make some bad decisions.
One last thing, I have to ask you this because I knew he was good, but I was surprised as today. How about Shaq Thomas? 10 tackles, an interception, a sack, 3 pass deflections. This guy in the first game of the season just looked like an all-pro out there.
He did, and and I'll leave you with this, but I think that was the best game he ever played. That was a real Luke Kuechly type game, and that he really influenced it. Kuechly would have games like that where he'd have a pick and a sack and a fumble recovery. That's hard to do, all those things. And Shaq did so many things well yesterday. He looked faster in that number 7 and, had that last minute numerical switch. He's not going to do that every week. But I've always thought that Shaq Thompson is so fast that, let's see him make a few more impact plays. Yesterday, he did that and more. He's he's really the best player on that defense yesterday.
Yes.
And they had there was a lot of good players on that defense, but Shaq was great yesterday, and they need more of that.
All right, well, my friend, let's hope that not only the same effort, but hopefully the same results coming up this Sunday. Like I said, any prediction on it?
I'm going to wait. You have to read the Charlotte Observer for that, because I usually don't make it until about Friday after I kind of see how the week goes.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, want to thank you so very, very much for taking your time, taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on Frankly Speaking Sports.
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
All right, Scott, be safe. All right, that was Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer talking to us about some football. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to recap the NFC South. We're not going to recap every single game unless somebody calls me on our hotline or leaves a comment and wants to talk about it. But, and I want to thank, not sure who the Facebook user is because they need to grant permission to use their name, but thank you so much. We try to be as detailed as possible with our questions for everyone with our special guests. So I'm very, very happy that we were able to answer those questions for you. If anybody real quickly wants to call in, let me see if yep, there it is. We still have it. There is the phone number. Please, one phone call at a time. When one gets off, dial the number, and then we'll take the next one. But if you want to talk Panther football, what did you like that you saw yesterday, and what did you not like that we saw yesterday? And I told you some of the decisions by Matt Rule, but we won. I'm happy we won. But our job here is to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's what we did. And the great thing is we won. We won a football game. We are 1-0 in the NFC South, sitting above, on top, the NFC South. It feels great, Panther fans. Get on the phone, call in, tell me what you think. We'd love to hear it. We're going to keep that number up for another second so some people can jot it down. Call in. It's area code 813-922-9810. And, if you listen to Scott said the same thing I said about the Saints. You get in Winston's head, you force him to be one-dimensional, and you have a lot better chance of winning that game on Sunday, fans. You really, really do. And it's a big, big game right away. Game 2 here in Carolina. Fans, get out to the stadium. Root for your team. It's time to stand up and get loud, Panther fans. That's what you need to do. Like I said, give us a quick phone call. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. The phone number is the same, 813-922-9810. Well, we're talking about the Panthers a little bit. The Saints a little bit. Yesterday, the Saints whoop up on the Packers 38-3. Jameis Winston, 5 touchdown passes. Alvin Kamara, 20 attempts, 83 yards. And, you look at Winston, the 5 touchdown passes, like Scott Fowler said, they were close to the end zone, but yet the key number that is bigger than any other number for Winston is no turnovers. He did not make any mistakes. You will beat Winston next week by forcing him to make mistakes. And I guarantee you, Panther fans, I will say it right now, even before our Panther show, where this Wednesday night, we will have John Hendricks of Sports Illustrated, who covers the Saints, on to talk about this game versus the Panthers. If we play the same type of defense with the same energy, the same enthusiasm, we will win this game. If you play the same way you played yesterday, okay? But Winston, 5 touchdowns. Kamara wasn't a huge factor in the game, but it was balanced enough where that Saints defense was unbelievable. Then if you move around, let's see, the Buccaneers, we all know on Thursday night, beat the Cowboys. Tom Brady, 32 of 50, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. With a minute left in the game, went ahead and got them in field goal position to win the game. Rob Gronkowski, 8 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Folks, don't worry about the Buccaneers. The Panthers just need to go out, play their games, win their games. They don't have the Buccaneers till week 15 of the season and week 17, so you don't have to worry about the Buccaneers right now. Then it was the Eagles all over the Atlanta Falcons. Jalen Hurts, 27 of 35, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Matt Ryan had a very passive 21 of 35 for 164 yards. Falcons did not, they looked the first quarter really well, but after that, they just got whooped up on a very, very poor Philadelphia Eagles team. I think that people in Philadelphia are all excited, think they're going to the Super Bowl now because they beat the Atlanta Falcons. Believe me, that isn't going to happen. I can guarantee you that. But, give the Eagles credit. They won a game, and they won it big. So that's our NFC roundup. Once again, we're going to take phone calls here and comments. Let me go read the comment line now, see what we've got. All right, thank you very much. We appreciate that. I love that, once again, like I said, we're new to the Charlotte area. We've been here about 3 months covering the Panthers now. Love to get you guys involved a lot more in these shows, whether it's a phone call, a comment. Love to hear more. A reminder that tomorrow night on College Football Tuesday with, let me see if, all right, we can get this. All right. Take care of that later. Let me get our list for you. This upcoming week, tomorrow, is Otis Kirk. He covers the Arkansas Razorbacks, who had a big, big win this weekend, beating Texas. We'll talk about that with him tomorrow. And then Wednesday night, like I said, we will have John Hendricks, and we may have a former Carolina Panther on as well, but we will announce that when that happens. But, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. We would love to have people contact us or leave a comment in regards to what they liked about the Panthers yesterday and what they didn't like about the Panthers. And, we'll stay on for the next 10 minutes. We talked about a lot of things yesterday. I told you I thought Shaq Thompson looked outstanding yesterday. When you have 10 tackles in a game, you have a sack, you have a forced fumble, 3 deflections. I mean, the guy had a career in one game yesterday, and boy, if he can keep that level up, boy, are we looking for. People don't realize when you have one guy playing well like that, that's all over the field, it helps everybody so much. I know there's a user, if you want to talk some Buck talk, you can call in. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or you can leave a message under the comment section. We'll be more than happy to get to it. We know the Bucs beat the Cowboys 31-29. Gronk was a beast. Tom Brady was a beast. So a lot of good things, continuing in Tampa Bay. Just go ahead and give us a phone call. go ahead and leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. And let's make sure we get that. There it is. We put the phone number up. Thank you so much. All right. And, anything else anybody wants to talk about as well with the NFL or the Tampa Bay Rays, the Atlanta Braves, go ahead, call in. We'll be more than happy to talk the next 9 minutes before we wrap it up. But the big news, the Panthers victorious. Yesterday, they're 1-0. We saw a lot of good things. We saw some not so good things, but I thought overall it was a good performance. The defense was, like I said, I can't say it over and over. I can't say it enough how great this defense looked. And, some people say, well, Larry, it's only the New York Jets. Let's cut that crap out right now. This is an NFL team, just like all the other NFL teams. They put together teams. They got all pros in different positions. Any NFL team on any given day can beat another NFL team. It doesn't matter who you play. A win is a win, and it's the same whether you beat the New York Jets or you beat the New Orleans Saints. Okay? This is a win, and the guys deserve credit. Like I said, the one thing that I would like to see happen this week, and I'm not picking on Coach Rule, but I think he needs to look at himself as well, because you're still seeing him make a couple of mistakes that rookie coaches make, and he just needs to learn a little bit when he watches the films and go back and says, okay, maybe in this situation we should have done that. Maybe I should have went for the 50-yard field goal and what was at stake. And for those of you that don't understand, this Ryan Santoso, if he plays 2 games with the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers are required to give the Giants a 7th-round draft pick. But fans, if he's nailing 50-yard field goals all the time, the hell with the 7th-round draft pick. Give it to them. Just didn't make sense. I'm sure Coach Rule had his reasoning. Then I'm not so sure. I know Scott came on and said he thinks that Joe was still in charge of the offense in the second half. I believe that. I never disbelieved that Joe wasn't in charge, but I think the type of plays that he called were limited to what Coach Rule wanted called, not what Coach Joe Brady wanted called, if that makes sense. That's my opinion on that. I never understood that in the NFL. You play a first half over and over and over again. You're successful. You're manhandling a team. You're outscoring a team. You're outgaining another team. And then the second half comes and you completely switch it up. It doesn't make sense to me. It never has. I would rather than take out all the first stringers, put all the second stringers in, and let them play as hard as they can. You don't want to loosen up. And, those are type of things. You get to where you got by playing enthusiastic, positive, full of energy type football, swarming the football, trying to knock it out. Well, damn it, when the second half starts, you should be doing the same thing. Don't worry about blowing teams away. Your job is to win football games. If you happen to win 40-0, then damn it, it's 40-0. You don't owe an apology to no one. But you have to play the same way you got to that lead. You need to continue playing that way. And all these coaches go into this prevent, conservativeness, now we're going to start running ball. I understand that in the fourth quarter, not in the third quarter. There's still too much time left to play football. I can see in the fourth quarter, you're under 10 minutes to go. You want to kill this clock. You want to run the ball and stay in bounds as much as you can. But otherwise, there was no explanation for us changing it up like we did in yesterday's game. But like I said, we won the game. We stay positive, Panther fans. We won the game, but it's just one of those things that Coach Rule needs to look at and say, okay, next time this happens, we need to put the nail in the coffin. We need to put this game out of reach. You needed to make it impossible for the other team to have any opportunity to come back in this game. And that's what he did not do in yesterday's game. Now, very interesting, like Scott said, to see what they do with Ryan Santoso. If they're confident in Ryan, which, he was 2 for 2 in field goals. I know he mixed an extra point, but everybody misses an extra point now and then. But, he did good in his first game. Damn it, if you don't have that belief in him, Coach, then get rid of him right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Before you go to sleep tonight, you get rid of him. Goodbye. Otherwise, let the damn guy go after 50-yard field goal. That's my take on that. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of us at Frankly Speaking Sports, want to thank you very, very much for joining us tonight. We want to thank our special guest, Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer. For those of you that joined late that missed that, go back on the replay. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. We had a great conversation. Tomorrow night, Zach McKinnell and myself, Larry Frank, College Football Tuesday. Boy, I'm looking forward to that. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, folks, have a good night.